Sounds kind of toxic that you want to. I'm not basking in these people's downfall, but it's the process of watching them go from the struggle to something greater is what I love about reading these stories. So hello all, and welcome back. I want to apologize in advance if you can hear thumping and bumping. As usual, neighbors do whatever they want without regards to anyone else. So today's video is for my indie black romance lovers. I have a few books that I would like to recommend to you all that I think are really for the people who like to escape into a different world. Let's just get right into it. So I want to start off with something pretty unique, I thought. One of my favorite indie authors, Danielle Allen. This is not the only Edgar Allan Poe poem that she's turned into a black romance, contemporary romance story, and I just think it's the bee's knees. What era am I from? The bee's knees. I read a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe in, I believe, high school. We didn't get too deep into it. Was it high school or college? We read Edgar Allan Poe. It might have actually been college, but we read a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe in one of my English classes, sometime either high school or college, and I really did like his stuff. So I thought it was pretty darn interesting that this author found a way to flip those poems into a contemporary romance. So anyway, our first book up is Annabelle Lee, which is a contemporary romance inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's poem Annabelle Lee. This one is about two childhood friends who met up every summer in their childhood up until the time they were 16 when Annabelle went back to this town that she visited her grandmother, and as a child she went back and he wasn't there. He disappeared. She hadn't heard from him, and then years later when she goes back, she finds some pretty interesting things, or a pretty interesting mystery that she and Lee embark on trying to solve. So I thought it was quite interesting. Forgot to mention, all of these stories, except my bonus, can be found in the Kindle Unlimited section of Amazon. If you're subscribed to Kindle Unlimited, this video is especially for you. All of these stories can be found on Kindle Unlimited except the bonus one that I will be mentioning at the end of this video. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Next up, we have Plus by Sabrina B. Scales. This is a contemporary urban romance about another set of childhood friends. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but yes, childhood friends. I'll read the little blurb I have here. They were born into the struggle, separated by a few blocks of concrete and heavy doses of pain, somehow finding their way back to each other after life and its perils pushed them apart. For the folks who don't really know much about the urban side of romance, or who maybe haven't read much urban romance, I think this is a great foray into the subgenre, because it gives contemporary romance with an edge. And there I have explicitly written on the screen trigger warnings because there are some sensitive subjects that come up in this book. So I would check the trigger warnings if there are any. I can't remember if she mentions them before you really get into it, but there are some sensitive subjects that come up in this book. So I would tread lightly here. But I love this story, and there are some other stories that are connected to it by the same author. So I would really dig into her catalog because she has some really great reads. This one, this wasn't my first story that I read by her, but it was definitely one of my favorites. Kenny, or Plus, as he's known to the music industry, is a rapper, and Tashina is a childhood friend of his from his neighborhood. They get separated by circumstances when they're young and reunite later in life. And it's a really, if you don't mind emotional stories about like things that happen in real life, but that gives you a sense of satisfaction once you reach the end, you will love this story. I love this story so much. And I think, I grew up in an urban area, but I was mostly shielded from the really harsh realities that went on around me. So diving into books like this kind of shows you what maybe could have happened, or things that may have been happening around, but you didn't really get a chance to see God protected you from these things. And I just is interesting to read and to see the underdogs come out on top. It's beautiful to see. So that is Plus by Sabrina B. Scales. Next, we have The Gift. Now, this one, I will honestly say I have not read in a while, but I remember that I really loved this story. It is The Gift by, I think I'd be saying her name wrong. I'm going to try. Rilzy Adams. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. Rilzy Adams. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but this one is a contemporary romance. I labeled it as a forbidden romance, as kind of the trope, I guess. Let me read you the blurb here. She must fight against the tenderness she's begun to feel for her best friend's husband, and she must atone for the sin she desperately tries to keep hidden. Maya Jenkins killed her best friend. Now, if that don't catch your attention, I don't know what will. That definitely, like, when the description is hitting like that, I definitely got to see what the F is going on there. Oh my God, everybody and their mama is making noise right now. I don't understand it. Anyway. So this one is about Jackson and Maya. I know that little blurb kind of gave you a little taste of like her perspective, and I'll tell you without spoiling much of it because it's in the description, so it's not really a spoiler unless you consider it a spoiler from the description. So Maya is friends with Charlotte. Charlotte asked Maya to be her surrogate, and unfortunately, the same day that Maya finds out that the procedure worked, that she's pregnant, for Charlotte and her husband, is the same day that Charlotte passes away. And I don't know if it's the same day, but it's around the same time. Like when she finds out that she's pregnant, it's around the same time that she finds out that her friend is gone. So yeah, she has to deal with the fallout of that. Like, she's pregnant with her best friend's child, and she has to deal with the husband now that her friend is gone. It's a lot of drama and mess. And yeah, Jackson obviously is Charlotte's husband. So just imagine that, you know, this story is a romance story about Jackson and Maya, and just think about the circumstances and how crazy that has to be. I mean, yeah, I was on that. Yeah, yeah. I just love stories that kind of take me to a different, like just to a different world outside of my own, and you know, allows me to escape my own life for a little while. Maybe like look at somebody else. I mean, that sounds kind of toxic that you want to. I'm not basking in these people's downfall, but it's the process of watching them go from the struggle to something greater is what I love about reading these stories. So, and next we have There Goes the Bride. Every time I talk, every time. There Goes the Bride by Tay Russ. This was listed on Amazon as a romantic erotica, which, okay, sure. If you say so. I think I'm just used to when I read romance stories, they have a hint of erotica in them all. So I'm like, what's your definition of erotica? Because that could be true for a lot of books that I've read. Anyway, so this one is insta chemistry type of story about Raven and Liam, and I have a little blurb from the description. It said it had been the morning from hell, and that pretty much describes it for both of them. They meet on a day when they're both going through when they're going through some really life-altering stuff. I mean, and just look at the book cover and the title. Just imagine what she's going through, and you'll see what he's going through. Yeah. So they meet each other on the day that they're both going through their own personal hell. So I'm a fan of it all, but I really do like the instant chemistry stories when they're just, you know. Next up, we have Far From Friends by A.C. Taylor. This one is a contemporary urban romance about Jade and Khalif. This is a brother's best friend type of trope. You know, she's falling for her brother's best friend. Brother's best friend is falling for her. So let's look at this blurb I got here from the description. Here's caught. What should have been a one-time fling with her brother's best friend has turned into a secret affair that Jade has no idea how to end. And if word gets out, more than a few people would get caught in the crossfire. Does that pique your interest? Moving on to the next one. Now this one I had to include, even though it's heavy on the contemporary urban fiction than it is on the romance. There are romantic elements to it, but it's more contemporary urban fiction than it is romance. But I had to include it because it's such an amazing story and well written, and many of you have probably heard of it before. It is Fast by Millie Belazar, and I think I've read this twice. I mean, it's heavy. That's why I have a trigger warning on this one as well. It's a heavy story about a lot of trauma that happens. So, and it is kind of depicted in the story. So I would tread lightly here if you have sensitivities to certain subjects. I believe she does have trigger warnings at the beginning. And even in the description for the story, so you know what to expect a little bit before you get there. But let's read the blurb. Oh, this one is also a coming of age / friends to lovers type of story. So Fast is a standalone that spans 20 years, separated into 3 acts. We watch Capri grow from 8 years old to 16 years old to 28 years old. She gets hurt, she falls in love, she grows, and she just might overcome. I love it. I love this story so much. I actually want to read it again. I really do. Like, I want to read so many things right now. It's not even funny. There's not enough hours in a day to read all the things that I want to read, but this is definitely a story that I would go back to again and again because it's just that good. But certainly not least is my bonus story that is not included in the KU program, the Kindle Unlimited program. But it is available in ebook and paperback. So this one is my bonus story. It is Fans Only by Be Love. This one is definitely a romantic erotica because yeesh. Yeesh. This one is spicy, okay? If you like the spice, if you like to escape your life with a lot of spice, this is the one for you, okay? This is a friends to lovers story. And I will read you about Maverick. And I didn't even say who the other characters were for the last story. The last story was about Capri and Sean. Okay. Now, Fans Only is about Maverick. I keep calling him Maverick because I like the name Maverick better than what his actual name is. So yeah. So this is a story about Merrick, I guess that's how you say that, and Aries. And here's the blurb. With dreams neither Merrick nor Aries can afford to loom, they outline the deal, engage in a public sexual relationship until they've both met their financial goals. The proposal seems full of gain and worthy of the exposure, as if anything is ever that easy. We know that ain't the case, right? So yeah, this is a story about two friends who decide to come together and make a OnlyFans account and engage in, like the description said, a sexual relationship for the public, to earn money in order to fulfill the goals that each of them have respectively. And a little bit of chaos ensues following that choice. Some feelings get hurt. There's a lot of spice, like I said. But it's still a good story. It's a short one too, I think, in 100 and something range. So if you want to take a chance on that one, go for it. Like I said, it's available in ebook and paperback on Amazon. And every book that I've mentioned here is available on Amazon. Most are available in ebook and paperback. Some are available in ebook, paperback, audio CD, hardcover. And the 6 that I mentioned first are all in the Kindle Unlimited program. So they are free to borrow if you are subscribed to the Kindle Unlimited program. You don't have to have a Kindle. If you didn't know, you don't have to have a Kindle to read stories on Kindle, obviously. I don't have a Kindle. I have a iPad that I have the Kindle app on, where I read all of my ebooks, or most of my ebooks, because the books that I actually buy from authors usually are downloadable through BookFunnel, which is another platform, another app to use when you purchase ebooks and audiobooks. And that's, like I said, that's something that I usually use when I buy direct from the author. Every book that I've mentioned will be linked below. I never mention it, but I don't get any commission or not sponsored or whatever YouTubers say about this stuff. None of my links are affiliate links, so I don't get any money from recommending these books. I don't get money from the authors. I don't get anything from anybody. I'm just here to recommend some great reads to you guys because I love them and I want everybody to love them too. Continue to stay tuned for my next update about my personal book challenge. It's not a challenge between anybody but me and my books. Reading the Connecticut King series by Love Belvin and Christina C. Jones. I'm still on the path here. I'm on book 5, Love's Ineligible Receiver, one of my favorites of the series. And I should have an update on that. Was today Monday? I should have an update finished with that by Friday. If you all decide to give either of these books a try, remember to come back and let me know because I want to talk about them. They're really good books. I wouldn't recommend them if they weren't 4 or 5 star reads, and they all are. So if you all have some recommendations for me to read, I will gladly take them as well. I always love to read new things, love to read new authors. Don't have to be independent or Black romance. I can branch out every once in a while. I haven't in a while, but y'all let me know. Appreciate you all for clicking on this video, and I hope you do give these books a try and come back and let me know what you thought. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Peace. I have got to go live on a ranch somewhere. I can't deal with all this noise. So I also have and this one is kind of on the shorter side. It's I think 100, somewhere around 120 pages. So it's a quick read, but it's a very good read. He's doing this on purpose. I'm convinced he's doing that on purpose, and it's annoying. I also apologize for constantly looking back and forth between the view of myself and the camera lens over here. I can't help it. I just gotta make sure I ain't got no boogies or nothing up in my nose or something, you know. Who doesn't like staring at themselves all the time? Anyway,